It's a 12-week transformation experience. And I'm going to tell a personal story here, but before we switch gears, no matter where you guys go from here, whatever you guys decide to do with your authentic journey, right? Just remembering how long it takes for something to shift. Okay. And so the magic number for me is the 12 weeks. And this is life changing. And not just from learning, right? You're making the commitment to yourself for the transformation. And this 12 weeks is not just random. This is the sweet spot. This is lasting change. This is backed by science. Okay. I feel like I lived it. So what happened is 2 years ago, I moved to the island and I I was feeling really good and I decided to take horseback lessons with my daughter. And I think it was the second lesson. Within a minute of getting on the horse, she got spooked and we turned right and she threw me off. And I was in the air and I screamed so loud. But I wasn't screaming in the air. That was when time slowed down. I landed on my back and it was terrifying. I screamed so loud. My daughter was the only one who saw it happen, and she was across the pen. Is that what you call it? I'm not a rider, so I don't know everything because I was just learning. And she had to stay with her horse because we were scared I was going to get trampled. But anyway, I broke my back and I was in trauma for 3 days. And I think I was in a back brace for 3 months. And I did go back to the show. I did go back to the show on Good Doctor. And this was another wake up call for me. And in that moment, for me, everything changed, right? Like I went from never having a broken bone. So they kept me in the trauma unit for 3 days because they had to make sure it didn't explode over to the spinal cord and then I'd be paralyzed. It was terrifying. They actually stood me up. The paramedics stood me up and they left me in the hospital in the waiting room in a chair for 6 hours. And I could have done more damage than it would have been. So it was actually a very terrifying and traumatic experience. And so it was 12 weeks that I was in this hard brace. So you guys remember when I said old patterns die hard? So I was supposed to go back to work that Friday or Thursday, but I think it was on a Monday or Sunday that I broke my back. And the ER doctor actually wrote me go back to work note before we got the CT scan. Anyway, after that, I couldn't go. But the good doctor did invite me back on the next season, and I did show up. And I kept traveling across the ferry with a broken back and a hard brace, and I finished the rest of the season 7 in a hard brace with a broken back. So anyway, that's another story, but pushing through, right? Still pushing through to make things like worse, even though that's not what I was intending. And I just got to show up, got to be a pro. Old patterns die hard. But what I'm talking about here is the 12 weeks, right? It's the critical threshold for lasting change. I'm like, I'm in a back brace for 12 weeks. The bone heals actually quicker, but it's like all this other stuff that happens with the break that you have to keep it sturdy, or there's other damage that can happen. So 12 weeks, I kept noticing this 12 weeks. It's literally how long it takes for neural pathways to solidify in 12 weeks. And athletes, it's their timeline for peak training. Any workout program you get, it's like 12 weeks, you'll notice this change, right? I don't know if you guys like have noticed that. And it's literally the time frame for behavioral change. So 12 weeks, I went from really frustrated to surrendering to what was happening after I finished the show. And then I went to no distractions because I went on disability because I was like, I can't do this again. And so that's when I went inwards. And that's where I found more clarity. And that's where I found more presence, right? Beyond movement, where I just found stillness.